We know you like things done a certain way, Abby Lee Miller, but would it really be so bad to ease up on your junior students? We know you're preparing them for the real world, but sometimes you go a little too far. Okay, let's be honest, you take things too far all the time. Some of your former students refuse to talk to you, while others still call you up to go on lunch dates. There's just no in-between. Say what you will about Abby, but she's still the best in the business. To say that Abby takes things too far would be an understatement. Watch until the end to find out why Nia and Cameron are having a hard time forgiving Abby for her outrageous comments.
Sarah, no babies!
The cover-up. Abby Lee Miller says the meanest things, and sometimes her words are just too cruel to showcase. Dance Moms is notorious for censoring their content and creating fake scenarios, and this is exactly what happened during the season 4 finale. The editors reused footage of Abby telling Christy,
Chloe, it's finished! Your kid's washed up!
But in reality, Abby made fun of Chloe's medical condition, telling her to go fix her eye. Even the producers of the show knew that Abby had gone too far, which is why they edited the clip in her favor. Sticks and stones. If there's one thing that puts Abby in a sour mood, it's losing. But her mood only intensifies when she loses to her rival, Kathy, from the Candy Apples Dance Center. This is exactly what happened in Season 5, Episode 13. After beating the ALDC, Kathy and her dancers entered Abby's changing room to gloat. Kathy was holding a cake with Abby's face on it, and Abby wanted none of it. On her way out of the room, Abby whispered, "Get those ears fixed," to one of Kathy's dancers. While we understand that she was upset, Abby took things way too far when she insulted an innocent and talented young dancer. Not smart enough. In Season 5, Abby insulted Mackenzie's intelligence in front of the entire OG squad. The pressure was on, and Kenzie was having a hard time remembering her solo. Kenzie was nearly in tears when she told Abby that maybe she was thinking too much. That's when Abby took things a step further and told her,
Thinking too much? I don't think you're thinking enough.
She even questioned Melissa about whether or not homeschooling was a good choice for her youngest daughter. Judgmental and rude. Abby is known for her outbursts and taking her frustrations out on others, and this is exactly what she did to Melissa in Season 3, Episode 5. Abby yells at Melissa in front of her children, causing them to cry. She tells Melissa,
You are more worried about your friendships with all of these women than your own kids, and you know it.
And she even scolds Melissa for getting divorced and finding someone new. Abby had no place talking about Melissa's personal life in front of the entire gang. Suck it up. If there's one thing Abby hates, it's crying children. She puts a lot of pressure on her students, and more often than not, they break. A lot of Abby's students have had panic attacks in her studio, but obviously, Abby doesn't know the difference between tears and panic attacks. Kendall was showing clear signs of a panic attack in Season 4, Episode 13, but Abby brushed it off. Panic attacks are very real and terrifying, and a dance teacher who takes care of children should know how to handle them. The chair throw. The Highlands never had it easy with Abby, but some would agree that Kelly brought it upon herself. In Season 2, Kelly Highlands got into a fight with Abby because she forgot to put stoppers on her daughter Paige's chair. Abby threw the chair in front of Paige, making her feel totally uncomfortable, and then tried to pin Paige against her mother. All in all, Abby took things too far, and Kelly helped her get there. All washed up. In Season 2, Abby and Christy face off in the competition changing rooms, and things get ugly fast.
You have sabotaged my daughter and the rest of the kids!
A little snake!
Abby calls Chloe a snake and goes on to tell Christy that her daughter will be all washed up in 5 years. And if that wasn't bad enough, Abby said this in front of Chloe, making her cry. There's always a favorite. Abby had to learn the hard way that playing favorites is a recipe for disaster. All the moms pay Abby the same amount of money, so she should focus on all of her dancers instead of just one. Abby took things to a whole new level by playing favorites with Maddie, Kalani, Bryn, and Brady, and choosing to ignore dancers like Paige, Nia, Chloe, and Presley. Offensive comments. It's a well-known fact that Abby wants her dancers to have neat hair, which is why Holly made sure to get approval for Nia's hair when she had braided extensions put in. But when Holly challenged Abby in Season 2, Episode 20, Abby chose to retaliate by making fun of Nia's hair.
Then fix this hair, cause it's horrible.
Holly and Nia were rightfully upset over Abby's offensive comments. More offensive comments. Abby doesn't have a filter, and on more than one account, Nia and Cameron have felt that Abby's comments were borderline racist. Cameron Bridges revealed that Abby commented about her skin color and how the bottom of her feet were lighter than the rest of her body. Abby's comments made Cameron feel super uncomfortable, and it's not hard to see why. Do you think Abby should change her attitude, or are her rude ways what make dance moms so entertaining? Sound off in the comments.
Growing up on a reality show competing was very stressful.
Maddie Ziegler has come a long way since starring on the Lifetime reality TV series Dance Moms. Her popularity is on the rise, and she's the epitome of success. But the road to stardom hasn't always been an easy one, and Maddie's childhood is filled with dark truths and surprising moments. Keep watching to find out what really went down on the set of Dance Moms. Young and famous. It's no secret that being under the public eye is a super stressful ordeal. People follow you around, seek you out in a crowd, take pictures of you, and publish faulty articles for your views. Being a famous adult is hard enough as it is, but being a famous kid can be even more challenging. Maddie Ziegler was only 8 years old when she first appeared on Dance Moms.
Her whole life revolves around dance.
And her life took a drastic turn right off the bat. At first, being famous sounded like a whole lot of fun, but soon enough, the Zieglers realized that fame came with a price.
Me and Mackenzie had a definitely rocky childhood.
The dark side of social media. During an interview with Cosmopolitan, Melissa Ziegler opened up about the dark side of social media and how detrimental it can be for young children. Not only were Mackenzie and Maddie bullied online, but some internet trolls took things to a whole new level by pretending to be them on different platforms. On top of that, the Ziegler sisters were constantly subjected to negative comments and criticism, which can seriously affect young kids who are still learning to harness healthy levels of self-esteem.
Because she was always compared against me.
In hopes of preventing any mental trauma, Melissa made it a point to hire a social media manager once her girls started to get popular. Constant bullying. If being bullied online wasn't bad enough, both Maddie and Mackenzie were bullied on the set of Dance Moms. While many of us are quick to point a finger at Abby Lee Miller, whose teaching methods are absolutely questionable,
Think about it.
Abby wasn't the only contributor. Since Maddie was Abby's go-to dancer, many of the Dance Moms saw fit to talk about her behind her back. Worst of all was the fact that Maddie often overheard the adults fighting.
How many times has my daughter beat your daughter this year?
And her name was dropped more often than not. This did nothing for Maddie's confidence levels. Private tutors. Since being a part of the Dance Moms cast was so demanding, many of the girls had to forgo a normal childhood.
Maddie's freaking out because we're not allowed to ice skate.
And that included going to school like other kids their age. A normal day in Maddie's life consisted of being followed around by cameras. She attended normal public school for about 3.5 hours a day, only to rush to the ALDC to start shooting the reality TV show. On top of that, Maddie attended dance class nearly every single night. And when her schedule became too hectic, a private tutor was brought in to teach the girls in an office down the road from the studio.
She's homeschooling so that the mother can get her here.
No time to be kids. Since going to public school like normal children was out of the question, Maddie didn't have a chance to make friends outside of the studio, so her world literally revolved around the ALDC. On top of that, every minute of Maddie's life was accounted for. Going to birthday parties or kicking back with the girls on a Saturday night just wasn't permitted. Instead, Maddie and the other dancers practiced their dance numbers day and night. From Wednesday to Friday, the girls were in rehearsals, and on Saturdays, the girls would compete and film all day. Most of the girls only had Sundays off, but even then they had to study and get ready for the week.
I was way more stressed than I am now.
Growing up too fast. Not having the time to be a kid is something that Maddie, Mackenzie, and many of the other girls had trouble with.
The girls and I don't get to do fun things as much as we used to do.
As a result, they grew up too fast and were subjected to huge amounts of stress.
What do you mean? You never leave dance, Matt.
Maddie Ziegler is far from being a legal adult, but her schedule is loaded with endorsement deals, TV appearances, and tour dates. Dance Moms has many dark truths, and subjecting kids to pressure and making them grow up too fast is just one of them. Holds dancers back. It's no secret that Dance Moms is the perfect platform for recognition. It's how Sia found Maddie in the first place.
When I met her, it really just skyrocketed from there, and I'm so grateful for everything she's given me.
But despite helping dancers gain popularity, the reality TV series can actually hold them back in the long run. During the same interview with Cosmopolitan, Melissa Ziegler talked about what it really means to have a contract with a TV series like Dance Moms. In the end, her girls received many offers and opportunities throughout their time on the show.
You guys would be really fantastic, obviously for commercials. Commercials are great for kids.
Unfortunately, though, they were unable to pursue them due to their binding contracts. So when the Zieglers finally decided to call it quits, they were all very happy to be moving on. Estranged friendships. One of the best things about Dance Moms is building close relationships. However, Maddie would soon realize that her longtime friends were bound to the show. When you're a part of the Dance Moms crew, you literally spend all of your time at the ALDC. So once you leave Dance Moms, you don't really get to see your friends anymore.
It's just weird to think about our two sisters leaving.
Maddie was super close to Kendall and Chloe, but sadly, their friendships took a hit after the Zieglers left Dance Moms. Mental health issues. But perhaps the darkest truth of all is that being a part of the Dance Moms cast could potentially lead to mental health issues. Paige Hyland and Kendall Vertes both suffered from anxiety attacks throughout their time on the show.
I feel your little heart beating so fast.
And many of the other dancers reported feeling overwhelmed and mentally and physically strained.
She's a little girl. 7 hours of dance is a lot.
Since the show revolves around preteens, competitions, yelling, and fighting, it would have been a good idea to have a child psychiatrist on set. Unfortunately, this just wasn't the case. What do you think is the best and worst part about being on Dance Moms? Sound off in the comments section.
She can't do 10 pirouettes, you know that. Then shut your mouth.
You might have a bad reputation, Abby, but that's never stopped us from cheering you on. Without you, Dance Moms would never have become what it is today. Your comebacks, your no-nonsense attitude, and your fiery energy have turned us into total Dance Moms fans. We heard the audition process isn't an easy one to get through. So tell us, Abby, what do you look for in a dancer? And don't say Maddie Ziegler, because that ship has sailed. The old and new Dance Moms cast went through a lot to win their spots on the show, and every single one of them deserves to be where they are today. But just how far do moms have to go to win their kids a spot on the show? Watch until the end to find out.
Talk about a dream come true. Is that what it is? It is a dream come true.
There's no room for good. Abby Lee Miller doesn't pride herself on students being good enough. She prides herself on them being the best. So if she sees any mediocre dancers auditioning for a spot on her show, she won't hesitate to send them home. This adds loads of stress to an already stressful event in many young dancers' lives. Dance Moms in the making. Abby Lee Miller might be searching for the next Maddie Ziegler, but the show's producers are looking for the whole package. They want a talented dancer who has a mother that fits their desired profile. During the audition process, the moms can be seen telling their kids just how important their auditions are.
So stay being yourself, okay?
It's not good today. It's great today.
The kids look stressed out and nervous, but that's no surprise. These wannabe Dance Moms are turning up the heat on audition day. After all, if their kids blow it, they'll miss out on an opportunity of a lifetime. You're competing against the best. Before ever making it into the audition room, dancers need to send in an application form. We'll go over this jaw-dropping application form at the end of the video, so don't go anywhere. Since Abby wants to make sure that she doesn't waste her time, dozens of dancers are handpicked by producers before being brought in for auditions. If a dancer gets a call back and is asked to audition in person, they know that they're competing against the best dancers throughout America. No one is safe. During the audition process for Season 8, Abby Lee Miller mentioned that she was keeping 3 girls from Season 7 on the team.
I have 3 girls on the team from last season. I think Lily, Ellie, and Maisie thought that they were safe.
But Abby made it clear that they weren't. When it comes to audition day, nothing is set in stone. A dancer could be given a spot on the show only to have it taken away when a better dancer comes along. Young and confused. There's nothing wrong with starting young. In fact, most dancers start paving their path to success at a very young age. But some of the dancers auditioning for Dance Moms Season 8 seemed a little confused. While their parents knew exactly what was going on and what was at stake, some children looked lost and confused. The dark truth about the audition process is that some mothers push their kids too hard, too fast. The application form. Before getting the chance to dance your heart out in front of Abby Lee Miller and the rest of the crew, dancers need to fill out an application form. The form is designed to find out about the dancer, their mother, and their family life. Abby wants to know how old the dancer is, which studio he or she dances at, and what their parents do for a living. This last one might sound a little invasive, but Abby wants to make sure that her dancer's parents can support their child should they make it into the ALDC. You have to sell yourself. While it's the kids who will be competing for a spot on the show, it's their mothers who need to sell them to the studio. Parents are asked how good their kids are on the application forms, and moms are supposed to rate their kids from 10 to 1. But in reality, the ALDC is looking for mothers who go the extra mile and write something like, Maddie Ziegler might be a 10, but my kid's an 11. How determined are you? If you want to win a spot on Dance Moms, you need to prove just how dedicated you are. The application form is designed to wean out undedicated dancers. Dancers are asked to describe just how much dance means to them. Abby wants to make sure that dance is the most important thing in their lives, or else she's not interested in casting them. The competition. Abby Lee Miller wants to find the diamond in the rough. She wants a confident, classy, and talented dancer to earn a spot on her team. And to find this dancer, Abby asks the kids who their biggest competition is in the whole wide world. To make it through this question, kids are supposed to answer with dance icons like Jennifer Lopez, Beyonce, or Maddie herself. The real deal. But when it comes down to it, the producers of Dance Moms are looking for drama at every turn, and they want to make sure that moms are going to turn up the heat. So the most surprising question on the application form is directed at the mothers. They're asked to reveal which OG Dance Mom they would bump heads with the most. This way, the producers can get a sense of their personality. So there you have it, guys, the dark truth behind the Dance Moms audition process. Who's your favorite dancer from Season 8? Tell us in the comments.
You Dance Moms are so predictable, and the longer you appear on Dance Moms, the more predictable you get. Christy, we know you can't take it when Chloe gets criticized, but do you always have to blow up before Abby finishes her sentence? And Holly, why do you look so painfully worried every single time Nia steps out on the stage? We've picked up on your habits in filming mistakes, and we're about to put them on display. It's so easy to get distracted by all of the drama on Dance Moms, but if you dig a little deeper, you'll surely start to notice a handful of things that most people miss. Watch until the end and let us know how many of these things you noticed and how many of them you missed. Same costume, different solo.
I'm not Becky Homecki. I don't whip up costumes.
Coming up with new and improved costumes every single week can be downright impossible. This is especially true considering that many of the Dance Moms had to fabricate their own costumes.
I'm trying to teach the children a lesson. They don't need a $500 costume to win.
Did any of you notice that Maddie was wearing the exact same costume for her Angel and Manhattan solos? Costume mishap. Once again, we're on the subject of costumes, but this time we're looking at Mackenzie, not Maddie. During the Winter's War performance, Maddie twirled Kenzie around and a piece of her costume fell off. The girls didn't seem to notice, but some eagle-eyed fans immediately saw the white ribbon fall off of Kenzie's dress. Holly's facial expressions. Watching your daughter perform on stage can be a whole lot of fun. But when it comes to Holly, it's safe to assume that it's a stressful ordeal. Every time Nia has a solo, Holly watches from the audience with the exact same look on her face. Her lips are pursed into an O, and her hands are held up in a praying motion.
You have a look on your face, like you want her approval.
Kelly's crazy eyes. But Holly isn't the only Dance Mom who gets a strange look on her face while her daughter is performing a solo. Have you ever noticed that Kelly gets a classic case of the crazy eyes every time she watches Brooke and Paige perform? Say what you want about Kelly, but her daughters are her pride and joy. Last-second wardrobe changes. In season 4, Kenzie's outfit went from put together to lacking before our very eyes. During rehearsals, Kenzie is seen wearing long black gloves, but when she performs her number, Love Overdose, the gloves are nowhere to be found. We wonder why she chose to ditch the gloves.
I love it.
Maddie beat Cameron. Maddie's been winning solo titles since she was a little kid, so it came as no surprise when she won first place in Season 2, Episode 20. But what did come as a surprise was seeing Cameron in the background.
Only 0.3 of a point separated first from second.
Turns out that Maddie and Cameron were competing for the same title, and Maddie won by a landslide. Surprise, surprise! Superstitious Maddie. It's no secret that the cast of Dance Moms is a little superstitious. The girls had a special handshake that they would perform before going out on stage, as well as a few favorite lucky numbers. But when it came to scoring solos, Maddie took things to the next level.
Do I have a solo?
Did any of you notice how Maddie crossed her fingers before Abby announced the week's soloist? Pyramid swap.
Pyramid is grueling. Seriously.
Pyramid days are tough for everyone, but apparently they're so tough that Abby has a hard time keeping track of who goes where. Despite Kalani being placed at the bottom of the pyramid and JoJo being placed in the middle row, the girls' pictures get swapped by the end of the scene. Who else noticed this pyramid day mistake? Tell us in the comments. Reusing costumes. Remember when we said that Maddie used the exact same costume while performing Manhattan and Angel? Well, she did it again during the group dance Frost. You can clearly see that Maddie is wearing the exact same white outfit in Season 4, Episode 13. We wonder how many times Maddie actually reused that classic look. Kendall in the background. It's common knowledge that no one is supposed to be on the stage except for those who are performing. Well, it looks like Kendall missed this lesson because we clearly see her on stage during the Mini Mimes performance in Season 6, Episode 27. Kendall only appears for a few seconds, but her braids are super recognizable. The producers misspelled Kendall's name. Here's something that not a lot of people noticed during Kendall's Bring On the Boys solo. You would think that the producers of Dance Moms would dot their I's and cross their T's, but during this episode, they totally forgot the second L in Kendall's name.
Welcome, Kendall.
We wonder if Kendall herself is aware of this typo. 2 places at the same time. It's no secret that the producers of Dance Moms alter their footage to make it look that much more dramatic. Do you guys remember when Vivi said the wrong studio's name in Season 1, Episode 3? Well, there's evidence of footage tampering in this episode thanks to Mackenzie. At first, she's on the stage with Vivi, but when we see Abby's reaction to Vivi's mistake, Kenzie is in the audience. Jill's the worst and best dance mom. If there's one thing Dance Moms fans have noticed, it's that Jill is the biggest hypocrite and instigator of all the Dance Moms.
Why can't Brandon have a brain and sit in the back?
What genre is it anyway? The show's producers made another mistake in Season 3 when they labeled Kenzie's solo as contemporary. During rehearsals, Abby made it clear that Kenzie's solo was acrobatic. Abby gets taken aback. If you thought that Abby wasn't scared of anything, you were wrong. Turns out she's scared of Minister Dawn. But we can't say we really blame her. Look at how Abby jumps when Dawn yells at her from behind.
Take yourself out, 'cause you're the biggest piece of trash.
And that's a wrap. Let us know what your score is down below. Thanks for watching The Things. Be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See you next time.